Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Community Tales, a podcast where we spend a little bit of time talking about stuff that's happening in the community every month. And this month we're super excited to be podcasting from Con of the Rings. So I'm your host, Dave Walsh.
I'm Liz Stone.
Right, Joseph is joining us from the Three's Company podcast, so that's pretty awesome. So I guess at the beginning, Joseph, we don't want to take up your con time, so can you give us a little bit of insight into the con and how awesome it's been for you? Here, I'll even do this for you.
It's been pretty great. Played a lot of games, mostly. Met a lot of people. Connected faces to names on the internet. Mostly just played games back-to-back 3 days in a row. Probably got a good 25 hours of game time.
Yeah, I know. So that's like 3 games with this.
I've been getting about 5 or 6 games a day.
Yeah. We should tell everybody. So because Grant, this is literally the first time Grant and I have talked since we got here. So you and I just played Storm on Cobus Haven. Yeah, with Electron John and Mr. Underhill, right? Your co-host. So that was a pretty cool experience.
I shut it down. That was a good game.
Yeah. We totally shut it down. So you were running a Dale deck, and Ryan, Mr. Underhill, was running a
Dwarf Miners.
Yeah, Dwarf Miners, and I was running an Outlands deck, and John was running an Eagles deck. And in the last round, we quested for 80.
That did it.
Yeah, that did it. And there was only 5 in the staging area when we started, so that was totally wild. Yeah. Well, you've gone to these cons before, right?
I've been to Gen Con once. That's it, really.
Oh, really? Oh, you didn't go to Con of... I thought you went to Con of the Rings last year.
I went to Gen Con last year. I can't really go to both in the same year. Really.
Yeah. Well, you just had a baby. Congratulations, right?
Yeah, it was 2 months ago, so my wife was very gracious to send me out to go.
Maybe that was her plan. She was like, if I could just get rid of Joseph for a weekend.
Yeah, they should give it away to just had her and the baby for 2 days.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. Let me ask you, do you have a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would be your favorite experience so far here at the con?
I had some really good quests and nail biters. We did Karn Doom yesterday. We ended with 7 dead heroes.
Oh, you were the team that did that, right? So you played 4-player, and you had 7 dead heroes by the time you got through the thing.
Yeah, the only way we managed to kill the boss at the end was somebody had Gondorian Fire and Horn of Gondor. We didn't have enough attack to kill it, but every time a hero died, you got another resource to power up Gondorian Fire. All the dead heroes powered up fire.
It was totally wild. That was crazy. So
that was pretty good.
Yeah. What about non-gaming experience?
The sandwich is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, is this the first time that you met Ryan face to face?
No, I met him before.
Okay.
He was in Portland once.
Okay. And how about Liam?
Yeah, got to meet my other co-host face to face for the first time.
Yeah.
That was a memorable meeting. We walked into the hotel room at 5 a.m. He was asleep, so we were just lurking shadows. That's how we met.
And so, just so everybody knows, Joseph is the host, one of the hosts of Three's Company, which I love the podcast. It's chock full of information. You guys are on episode 7 now. Is that you're about working on 8?
8 ready to drop.
Okay, and so and it's you and Ryan who lives in Australia, and then Liam who lives in the UK. So it's like a ton of time coordination. But it's good from everything that I get from you. You never sleep, or at least you don't sleep when normal Americans sleep.
Five cost event, we do not sleep.
Right. So so that's cool. Do you have any spoilers for what your next episode's going to be?
We reviewed all of the cards
from the core set all the way up until Arid Mithrin, right?
Yeah.
No, just
Land of Shadow, and then we did a whole discussion on the Gondor trait.
So okay.
Try to pack too much in one episode, so we get a nice 4-hour episode.
Well, so the Gondor trait, right? And I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking. It just seems like trying to play a Gondor deck solo is not the way to. I don't know. Is that?
You'll have to listen to our 4-hour episode.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Right, it is Community Tales, everybody. There you go, Joseph.
Should be free.
Right, if you have a couple hours to go. Yeah, so have you won any swag here? One of the things that they're doing at Con of the Rings is they're giving away swag every 2 hours. They do a drawing, and people have donated stuff, gift cards, other podcast swag. Cardboard of the Rings is giving away a lot of their playmats and swag from previous years. So, has there been any?
I won one drawing, and I just picked up just a fellowship event mat to give to somebody at home.
Okay.
Got a couple people who are looking for those exclusives.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like Ted, who is out on the floor playing, he won 2 cycles. He won the Against the Shadow and Voice of Isengard cycles.
That's $200 a witcher.
Right. Yeah. Right. But he had it, so he gave it to my friend who doesn't have anything. He just has the core set, and so he's here with me. So that's
better than LOTR Bilbo.
Yeah. Yeah. So so that was a good find for my buddy that's with me. So one of the things that I wanted to do is also thank you, right? Because you are one of our ongoing patrons that have been here. So, it's good that Joseph is with us because he helps support the show and he's been with us. To be fair, he's been a major supporter of the community for ever and ever. He's the
I push accept on Facebook when people want to join. That's my contribution.
Right. And it's always amazing. Joseph has always been great because he, if you have questions, and this is why we do Community Tales, because if you have a question for the community or you have a question how to play, I feel like Joseph, you're like the first one to always answer. Like people's answers, and, like when people have rules questions. And I feel like an idiot because when I go back to old quests, I feel like I should know those quests. And there's several times that you've answered the same question, like a year apart. And I'm like, oh, wait, you've already answered that. So in terms of Card Talk and the community, we are just thankful for what you do for the community. You do an awesome job. So,
thank you. I'm looking forward to watching your Caleb Race interview later. I skipped it because I wanted to play. I knew I could listen to it later. So
right. Oh, that's good. Can I give you a little behind the scenes? I accidentally didn't hit stop record. So instead of an hour of recording, I have 4.5 hours of recording.
Ambient noise?
Yeah. So that's good. But I can easily cut that out.
One of our episodes.
Yeah, right. We're trying to avoid your lane there, We're trying to avoid that. So what else do you have about the con? Like, what are your reflections? What are some other things that are going on here?
Just been great to meet people, play games. A lot of the games have been long, have been 4-player, but this is one of the rare chances a lot of people get to play multiplayer, so I don't begrudge that at all. It's been hard to actually get games with people you don't know because they're all have a little groups they're playing with a lot, so I haven't got as many games with people I haven't already played with.
Yeah, I find that's funny when you're playing 4-player, and all the games are entering at different times and things like that, and all, so you just it's hard to unless you purposely do it. Like we've been trying to get a game in for 3 days, right?
Finally did it.
And we finally did it. It happened to be the what are they calling the culminating quest or whatever it is? The climactic quest for this round. So it was pretty cool that the 4 of us were able to play with Ryan and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to come if you have a chance. I assume they're doing it next year, but I haven't heard a confirmation of that. But if you have a chance,
come to Con of the Rings. Like it's just
a lot of nerds here.
A lot of nerds that are going to be doing the same nerdy things that you're going to love to do, right?
Actually, one of the surprising things is pretty much everybody here has a complete collection and knows the game quite well.
Yeah, and to speak from the other side, like I said, my buddy who doesn't have any knowledge of the game really, he slid in and it was phenomenal. Like everybody is super helpful. Like nobody's like saying, "Oh, we don't want the new guy." Like actually to the contrary, he's actually gotten games with people. He's played with the most different people because everybody's like, "Yeah, come on in, we'll help you out." Yeah. So, what's your deck of choice for this con as you're sliding into games with people? Or have you been playing everything? You have a Noldor deck that you totally love.
I like the Noldor deck. Noldor has been good, but Dale has been easy because it's a self-contained deck. It doesn't contain any...
It's not a lot of unique...
I played a lot of Beorn, Hirgon, Eowyn. I was doing competitive tournaments. So I played that deck a ton.
How'd you do in the competitive tournament?
Well, they changed the rules on us midway, so we had one non-optimal game, and 2 other people had totally optimal plays, so we weren't going to win. So
How did they change the rules?
they switched it from 4 rounds to 3.
Right.
But we had some great games. We were up
Yeah.
against 2 dwarf swarms that were swarming hard. And we pulled out the win at the very last second, one on scoring. We both completed the quest of the last together, and we had scoring the game. Nobody ever scores the games. We had to look up how to score the game to see who won.
Right. You don't even keep track of number of rounds at this point, right? Like that's not
It
how.
doesn't matter because at the same time. But
Right. Yeah, it's that's wild. It's we played. So Ted and I were playing 2v2, and so we lost the first 2 matches, but it came we were behind, and then we pulled ahead,
that's fun.
and then we fell behind again in the last round, and it's it's like we had no hope, and then we had hope, and then we got beaten. It's just
swing and back and forth.
Yeah, I don't ever get a chance to play 2v2 because I don't have a gaming group. You have a pretty active gaming group where you're from, so
Yep.
Yeah. How many people typically?
We got 3 to 5, which is usually 4 on each team. But
Yeah, that makes it nice for coming to the con. You've played a lot of these already multiplayer, right? That's one of the things that I have a hard time with. It's going from solo to multiplayer. Actually, the last episode, didn't you talk about that on your last episode, going from solo up to multiplayer and things like that? So cards that I wouldn't even consider playing ever because I'm playing solo.
That become quite good.
Yeah. So, and I was saying this about the Outlands deck that I built, right? Is that I designed it specifically to be helpful in multiplayer. So,
Strength of Arms, Campfire Tales.
Yeah, Campfire Tales, Strength of Arms, Aaron Rider. Those cards you never play Strength of Arms is not horrible if you're playing a Swarm. But Campfire Tales is meh solo, and Aaron Rider doesn't even do anything. I mean, it's a 1-cost, I guess, defender if you need it, but yeah, but that's so you don't usually include those cards, but so that's I don't know. So that's awesome for me to play these games multiplayer. So
yeah, I think it's good for a lot of people who don't get a chance to play much.
Yeah.
Come and play multiplayer.
Right. So, what else do you have? I don't want to hold you up. So
I'm having a great time, but yeah, I should finish my lunch here. I think
right.
Get back in the game.
Right. Okay, Joseph. Well, thank you so much for being a patron. You've been an amazing patron. So yeah, and I can't wait for the next episode of Three's Company. Sorry, I almost said Community Tales.
3 hours.
But that's
on your podcasting app.
Yeah. Right. We need to have you back on Card Talk because you want to talk about Backtrack at some point or whatever.
10-minute episode. That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
talk too much.
Joseph actually holds this. Let me make sure that I tell everybody this. Joseph holds a special place in the podcast art because he was actually the first guest that we ever had on the show, and so Joseph's really kind of a
Guinea pig.
Yeah, guinea pig, we say, but that was before I actually really knew how to play the game. Let's say that. So, anyways, Joseph, thank you so much for joining us, and go back to the con, enjoy your experience, and we'll keep going. Yeah, of course. Okay, thanks. Thanks. Yeah. It was really hard for me to hear you, and so I just assumed you were asking questions. Is that true?
I was just letting you have the conversation.
Okay.
It's interesting to listen to.
Right. So let's go back. We don't have any guests right now, so let's take a minute and go back to a little more about the con. I actually got in on Thursday, so I flew in from New Jersey into Minnesota. I got in late Thursday, and that ended up being a crazy... Traveling was fine. But I got into the hotel at 1. And one of the things that was really funny is Ted drove and I flew, so we both took different methods getting here. And then but we arrived at the hotel within 5 minutes of each other. So I hung out in the lobby for 5 minutes, and I got to meet Ted face to face. First time I've met him. face to face. And it's funny because Ted is cool as a cucumber. He's been to these things. He's been to Gen Con a million times. So like something like this, he gets it all. And for me, like I'm like a kid in a candy store. This is the first time I've ever done anything. Have you ever been to a con, Grant?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So I mean, for that to be like the first, I don't know. It's totally crazy. So like, there's so many things. This con is so well organized that it's just totally wild too to be here. Like, so. The organizers really have done an awesome job making sure that everybody has stuff to do all the time. So, and then Friday was actually really neat because at Friday we. Are you leaving or are you coming? Okay. Really, do you want to make a cameo without saying anything? Oh, you want to say something?
Sure.
Okay, so
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Here, grab that just so you can hear. Yeah, we're recording.
We're
just so
earbud buddies?
Yeah, we're earbud buddies. It's
Nice.
the other side, I think. Yeah, I tried to purposely make it so that it works.
I can hear myself.
Hey, Grant, guess who we got with us?
Who got?
Yeah, that's why we're doing it online.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. How you doing, Grant?
Not bad yourself, mate.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It's loud here.
It is loud, so hopefully it all works
It
out.
took me like half a second to be like, oh, he just asked me how I'm doing. I should
Right.
answer that.
So we'll just keep you here for a second because I know you know. So, but for anybody who doesn't know, this is Caleb Grace. He's the. Well, I guess you're no longer the designer of the game, right? Like, because all the content's already been designed.
Well, that's kind of harsh. Just took away 8 years of work. Like you don't
No.
count anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you're going to end my game that I so love, you're done. No. But Caleb's here. So what kind of reflections do you have about the con? Because you've been here as a participant. Like, you're not designing or doing anything. You're playing games with people and stuff like that. So
I just get in for free. That's awesome. I just have a great time. Yeah. No, it's great. Like just going around like snapping selfies with people.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because that's something that I always forget to do.
Right.
I'm like, I met a lot of terrific people, and I didn't take pictures of any of them, and now I can't remember who they were. So I went around just getting pictures. Yeah, I played a couple games today.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Has there been any like epic moments that you've had with the game?
Yeah, so the game we just played, played with Teddy and Cassie, and the three of us took on Intruders in Chetwood.
Oh yeah,
It's been a while since I played that
Orc
one.
War Party.
Yeah. So we very nearly lost. Like we failed the quest on our first turn, like 3 threat. And then we got like all 3 copies of the Outline Home set out there.
Let's see.
So our threat's just not going anywhere. And I think I ended the game at like 45 threat.
Okay. What deck were you running? Just so
I was running my Caldara deck with Kieran and Arwen. Very reliable.
Right.
Totally underperformed. Like I was just like not drawing the right cards.
Right.
And so Teddy and Cassie had to carry me a little bit till finally the last turn redeemed myself with they passed me Arian. We set this up a turn ahead, so this was exciting for me. We cleared out the war party.
Right.
Teddy did that. I like how I say we, but that was like all Teddy. He pulled it down, just murdered it with his Outlands warriors.
Right.
So then we're looking like, okay, I'm going to get, you kill that this turn, no more war parties in play. We finally cleared out like 3 of the side quests that come up. We dealt with those.
Right.
We can make more than 3 progress again.
Right.
When I get control of Arian, now I have 9 trades. So I'm going to free people.
Free peoples,
I've been
right.
waiting for this.
Right.
You know? We're going to free peoples and just YOLO quest, all
Right.
in.
Right.
So we make like 40 progress.
Right.
You know? We're like well over. But we flip another war party. So thankfully, though, I've just readied all of our characters. So Teddy's like, well, let me just do it again. Let me just do what I do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. So that was a pretty epic moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a really good job here at the con to
I can't
get
believe what a
everybody
great
to-
show they put on.
I know, like it's just this is my first time getting to any convention like this, like so it's just been an amazing time. So I don't want to hold you up if you have to go.
I got
so
a couple minutes.
You got a
yeah.
couple minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think what is it? It's like 2:40.
2:30.
I just got to be out here by 3, so I got a few minutes.
Okay. Well, and
Yeah.
I don't want to. It's anytime you want to like.
I will stand up and throw a chair at you when I need to leave.
Promise.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Chair's got. Oh yeah.
So more about the con. Like, I assume you go to these things, and have gone even before you were part of the, like. Is this one of the? I feel like this is one of the best. I don't have anything to compare it to, so I'm trying to get like a comparison.
This is like your first convention.
This is my
of
first
any kind?
ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a teacher, so sometimes I go to like teaching conferences.
Yeah, two
but that's
totally
not,
different kind of things. I've been to a
this
couple
is-
of those too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, comparatively, like, how does
so
this?
like I've been to the Lure of Middle Earth once.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been to Con of the Rings once before.
Right.
And I've been to Gen Con.
Gen Con.
At least
Handful of times.
almost a dozen times by now. But Gen Con is just, there's nothing else like it.
It's a whole different beast,
It's
right?
so
Because there's so many people there.
Yeah, it
like,
really
you
is the
can't-
Super Bowl of tabletop gaming events, at least in North America.
Right.
So that's a madhouse. That's just totally exhausting because there's just so many people and so many moving parts. And
Right.
If you want to walk anywhere to anywhere, you're just going to bump into like a dozen people. You
Right.
just have to accept that.
And so you're walking 40 feet, and it takes you
It really
half
is.
an hour
Yeah,
because it's like somebody you haven't seen
you,
for
you
years.
use the restroom and you're on the game floor. You know that you're going to have to zigzag, weave, and
Right.
it's like playing football or something.
Like, is that also a little different from the developer side too? Because you probably have like business connections that you've made and things like
Yeah,
that
I mean,
too.
it's different in the sense that you're there to work rather than just
Yeah.
play. So, like, if you're going for fun and you get tired, you can just be like, well, I'll skip this next event, take a nap. When you're working, though, there's no skipping that event.
Yeah.
I might show up late. The Cardboard of the Rings guys like to remind me of that.
Right. But that's okay, right?
That was an accident. Yeah. So, no, this one I really, really like, and the Lure of Middle Earth I liked as well because they're just Lord of the Rings. They're so low key. Like, it's not like at Gen Con. The thing that gets me is it's a lot of fun, right? But with that many people, it's just like constantly a roar,
Right.
and you don't realize how loud it is. Until you
You
leave
leave.
the building and you realize your voice is hoarse because you've been shouting just to be heard.
Right, and that's what they mean by deafening silence, right?
Yeah,
All of a sudden you go out and it's like,
Oh yeah, your ears are ringing.
right,
And this is just so laid back and relaxed.
right. And so, like, as a player, not as a developer, just as a Caleb Grace, the dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's your new title, by the way.
Yeah,
the
the
dude.
dude.
Yeah,
The
is
dude
that good?
abides.
You're right. Like, do you prefer the smaller, more intimate conventions? Like, because you're into other games other than as a like I said, as a person, like you have a very diverse interest in what you play, right?
Sure.
So, do you prefer like smaller conventions like this, or do you prefer maybe the bigger conventions where you can get like a wider array of games,
Sure.
but maybe a little more
No,
crazy?
I think I prefer the smaller, just largely for like just a more relaxed atmosphere, but also because I do dabble in a lot of games, but I don't play a lot of them passionately.
Right.
So like Lord of the Rings really is like my hobby game.
Right.
Like that's the game. Like if we're getting together to play a game, that's top of the list.
Right.
So that
Oh,
makes
that's cool.
it really easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, so a little personal story with Caleb and I, just really quick. So Caleb was awesome enough to invite the three of the podcasts over to his house, and so it's Cardboard of the Rings, who's had interaction with you forever and ever, and then there's Great Company, who's also had, but you invited Card Talk over there this time, and that was super nice, and so, but a little intimidating
like
the first time,
just to be polite.
right, right.
I was like, well, it's going to look bad if I invite the other two.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for these.
Right.
I'm just
No, it's fine. And so we pitifully just cowered in the corner for the whole. But it was cool. So just a little bit of intimidation factor. Caleb comes out. He's like, so I have this Star Wars game that I play, and I'm like, oh crap. Because you before you did all this, you were like a world champion Star Wars CCG guy, right?
Star Trek,
or Star Trek. I'm sorry, not Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Trek. So when you said to me, "Oh, I have this Star Wars game," you were like, "Hey, how do you like Star Wars as a theme?" I was like, "Or Star Trek as a theme, right? Is it good? Are you good with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great. That's great. I have this game that I want to play." My heart saying, I'm like, here's this guy that's like a world champion Star Trek CCG
you come
guy.
to my house, you better come prepared.
I'm like ready to rumble. I'm like, oh no!
Everyone has to play Star Trek CCG,
Right.
just so I can keep winning. Be like, I'm so good.
Right.
Look at me playing cards.
Then again, in the end, it was not Star Trek CCG. It was
the deck building.
It was the deck building game,
Yeah.
which was a great time.
I was just trying to think of a game that like you could quickly get 4 or 5 people playing without too much explanation.
And it was a lot of fun. And I got to play with one of your kids. I was playing Legos with one of your kids. That was
I thought it was neat. You reminded me that you kind of already met him. I forgot when I was on your show and he was just in the background, just with the Legos, just
right.
making all this noise.
Right.
Peter, I can't even hear what he's asking me. Then he comes out, hey, look, Dad, what I made.
I know. But that's good. I mean, I love that because, a lot of times when people don't know you, they elevate people that they haven't met.
Not with me, though.
Yeah, well.
They're like, that guy, he looks sketchy.
Right. Well, you did have to invite us to over. No, but, so that just helped me do what I was doing. Because it's like, oh, you're a real kid with, your dad. I do the same thing. They come up to me when I'm trying to record the show. And Grant, you have the same issue with your kids, right? Like,
oh, definitely. I've got one playing in the background on the computer right now.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Right. Except he's got 5 kids, right?
Oh, my God.
And so you...
Yeah.
I forget that you get them all in one spot, and I have 4.
Right. Right. And so, your kids are all over the place all the time. Well, you have some little kids.
What's funny, though, is like, if you come again next year,
yeah,
and we do the 3rd annual Mount Doom barbecue,
right.
I swear Peter will remember you. For just playing Legos with him for a couple of minutes. He'll be like, hey, I remember you want to play Legos again?
Yeah. I probably would have been more successful playing Legos with him than I would have been at the Star Trek CC chair. That Star Trek. The Star Trek.
Well, you certainly couldn't have been worse.
Well, exactly. No, that's true. I think at the end of the night, I was the one with the least number of points. I had 25-point worship.
Yeah, I don't remember, honestly.
Right.
I lost track.
Right, you guys have kept wanting to call a chess clock on me.
The moment that I was no longer winning, I stopped paying.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't care anymore. Like some other guy won, whatever.
And you probably felt really bad you couldn't change, or felt like, I can't change the rules mid-game to help me. If this were Lord of the Rings, I could do that.
That's the real secret. I have to be the designer of the game to win at it.
Right, and even then, only sometimes, right?
I have lost at my own game, that's right. But I figure when I lose, I still win because I designed the quest.
Right, right. No matter, you're the only one, right? You and Matt.
Right.
And just one more thing, and then I'll say. So you were fortunate enough, just from your position at Fantasy Flight, you have a whole bunch of play testers that play test your scenarios for you before you put them out there. I would assume you have, dozens of them that are around, but
or
various. But at various times you had a whole bunch. But
over the years, absolutely.
Yeah, and at this particular con, you were fortunate enough to, because of the announcement that the end of the regular production, whatever that is. Those playtesters got together and got you a little gift.
Oh, yeah.
So that was. Is that something you want to talk about a little bit?
Yeah. So I already put it up on my Facebook.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But for those people that didn't seen that, I was absolutely blown away. And to tell the story correctly, I have to start with that morning. I'd slept into 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I've been pushing pretty hard at work and at home. Like Peter's birthday was last weekend, so we didn't get a lot of rest last weekend either. Right. So it's been 2 steady weeks of a lot of work and not a lot of sleep.
Right.
And so that was my first morning to sleep in. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. This is what happens. I sleep in, I don't set the alarm, I wake up, it's cloudy outside, so it's still dark in my room.
Yeah, it was raining yesterday.
And I'm what time is it even? I'm ready to go back to sleep. I'm ready to turn over and look at the time oh my gosh, it's 11. I got to get up and get there. I got to be there at 1 for
the designer interview,
for the interview and everything. So I get here, and I'm not even awake yet. I'm just my head is in a fog, and it's I'm thinking thoughts, and it takes a full minute for the thoughts to make words and come out of my mouth, And so in the midst of all this, just being kind of groggy and just kind of surreal kind of feeling, then Steven hits me with this super generous gift, and I'm almost in a panic of this is amazing. I want to find the right words to express my gratitude. And my brain's just failing me right now. So what they got me just blew me away. Yeah, the fact they made this custom play mat using my 5-year art.
Right.
And they even reached out to I think he said they reached out to licensing to make sure it was legit.
Right.
Reached out to the artist to see if he could expand it, a little bit to make it fit the play mat. That's amazing.
To their credit, they also don't have the sword going through your foot. They cut off the bottom so the sword's not going through your foot.
How will they know it's really me then?
Yeah.
Then they all signed messages on that was the part that really put it over the top. Just going through the trouble of having that made is one thing, but then I guess because they all live in different parts of the United States.
Right.
They mailed it from person to person. And that really speaks to me because I work directly across the street from the post office.
Right.
I don't mail anything. I'm
Right.
terrible about it. I never remember to do it. You know, it's so these
Right.
guys, like, I'm looking at them going, that would have stopped with me and made it no further.
Right.
So that, I just couldn't believe the amount of effort they put in
I
that.
know.
And to me, it all seemed upside down. Like, they're just talking about, oh, we feel so fortunate to be a part of the process and to play test with you. And I'm thinking, you guys are the ones doing me a favor.
Right.
Like I'm doing my job. I get
Well, they
paid
get
to design
paid.
this
They get
stuff.
paid so much for being play
Yeah,
testers,
well, I
right?
mean, they might get some, little
Nothing.
reimbursement here and there, but yeah, it's nothing compared to the amount of work that they do and the time and that they put in, and then also just the passion that they share.
Right.
So I mean, to me, it's always just been like, what can I do for my play testers to make sure they know I appreciate it? And then instead they give me a gift, I'm like, this all seems backwards.
Yeah.
So all these
Right.
thoughts are going through my head as
Right.
I'm just tired going, I want to go back to bed.
Right. I knew you seemed pretty tired because we did that. Guess the card.
Oh,
thing,
yeah, tell my
and you were
wife
like,
about that.
I was like, and you
'Cause I was
couldn't
like-
guess any of them.
I was like, this is not going to go well.
I know. To your defense, you do design way more encounter cards than you do player cards. So
Yeah,
you know, like,
no, it was a cool idea for a game, but I could just tell it right away. It's like,
Right.
oh no, this is such a neat idea, and my brain's just has not shown up yet.
and I tried to pick the low hanging fruit too,
Yeah,
like
right.
'cause I was like Dane.
Yeah, you're like Dane. I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. You already said Dane. What else is
Yeah,
Dane?
right.
Dunedain.
Dane, right? And then whenever I gave you Dunedain, because I think I whispered over to you, I was like,
Yeah.
Dunedain anything, and you were like, I still don't know.
Yeah, seriously, it was like, I know there's a bunch of cards with Dunedain in the title, but my brain was so just like
Yeah.
checked out
Right.
that I was
You
like,
seemed real tired.
Signal.
Right.
That was like the only one I could think of.
So yeah. So well, what else do you have about the con? Is there anything
Oh,
else?
man.
Like I said, I don't want to keep you here, so you know.
Yeah, I'm just really impressed with the guys. Like I said, the Freemen of the North that came up with the idea
Mhm.
and then organized it on their own. Again, volunteers.
Right.
You know, just out here putting on a great show. We have people from all over the states, people flying from, other countries.
Right? I think
It's
that said
it's
seven.
mind-blowing.
7 countries.
7 different countries represented here
Yeah.
today. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like events like this and Lure Middle Earth, it just I always feel a little sheepish when people make a big deal of like, oh, Caleb's going to be there. Because for me, I feel like this community is amazing. I'm just really, really lucky to be a
Right.
part of it.
Right.
That's really how I feel. Like everyone treats me so nice.
Sure.
Like, but I never
you're-
look at it like, oh, you guys are all playing that game I made.
Right.
Oh, that's,
Well, that's the thing
Yeah.
is that, and that's one of the things that I think the community really appreciates about it. It'd be really easy for somebody you created all this to just like be kind of above it. Kind of like, and you were a teacher, so like, the administrator, the principal, that's like, you do these things because you're the like, you guys, you play the game. I'm just, and you've never once
I think
ever
it helps
given
'cause
that.
I came to it as a fan, right? Like
Right.
really, it's Nate French designed the game, and I was already playing it before I got hired.
Right.
So I expect honestly with Marvel it will be the same way.
Right.
Like I think once as a creator, like once you put it out there, it kind of has a life of its own.
Mhm.
And so I don't feel a ton of ownership over it at that point.
Sure.
It's more like it now belongs to the fans.
Mhm.
Because honestly, people probably play my scenarios more than I have.
Right.
Like once I'm done playtesting,
Right.
I'm on to the next thing.
Right. You
So a lot
probably-
of these scenarios, I'll sit down to play with someone. I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't looked at this since before it was."
Well, I can guarantee you that there's 6 scenarios that you've played more than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. One of them's the City of Allfast. Then one of them is the whatever the next one
just
is.
'cause
And
you
then the
haven't
next
played
one.
them yet?
No, because they're the 6 that are being released with the Vengeance
those
of Mortar
ones, yeah.
cycle. So you've
Okay,
played
yeah.
those. So.
Yeah. That's
but,
true.
Yeah. So that's it. But I think I've played.
David, I
almost
don't think
every-
anybody.
What's
David,
that?
I said I don't think anybody's played Escape from Dumbledore more than you.
There's a chance. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've played Escape.
Oh, wait. Escape from Dumbledore. No, I'm pretty sure C-Stan holds the record for that.
What?
He posted his like one deck that like beat everything, and he posted like with it the number
50
of tries.
Right, yeah,
that it took.
54, right?
I bet he holds the record.
Yeah, but he did it Nightmare.
Did he do it?
He was
Nightmare?
doing the hardest
Oh,
on that
okay.
one deck run. He did the hardest available
Sure.
thing. So he did Nightmare Dumbledore, and he
Okay,
did
here's
it
a fun little
54.
tidbit though. Like, I have a ton of respect for Chris and his deck building and stuff like that. But I thought it would be fun then in the last cycle, just make like his deck will never beat this.
Did you see his most recent? So again, this is around the community. This is our Community Tales episode. So did you
Yeah.
see that he posted a one deck or a mono Thalon deck?
Did he really?
Yeah. So he got 1,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel
Oh, this was like a benchmark thing.
Yeah. So he made a monothalon. So it uses Forth the 300s,
okay,
the new contract from the new expansion, and then it uses Falco. He uses Falco to.
That's not monothalon. That's cheap.
Right, but then he uses Denethor and kills Denethor a leadership Denethor first round. Gets Tower Voltron. Yeah. And then he ended up beating it into because Thalon is able to do everything. And it was crazy. So
That's
shout
really
out
funny.
to shout out to
great.
him and to Nate for always beating all your quests with just Thalon.
Gosh, it's so maddening. You think you finally got one. Like, all right, Nate,
Right.
I finally got you.
Right.
And he'll be like, no, first try, beat it. I'm like, you got to let me look at your deck.
Right.
Let me see what you have in that Thalon. He doesn't even play any cards, just Thalon.
Right. Well, I guess if there's a rules conflict, does he trump your rules if there's an issue in the office?
I think that is sort of like,
So
like
that 50
the
card
rights
deck.
of the original designers to be like, no,
yeah, right. You're like,
it's somewhere in the legal.
right, yeah, you have to have 100. You're like, you have to have 100 cards in your deck. And you're like, he's like, nope, 0. And you're like, no, but you have to have 100. Do you email him?
It reminds me of like the one of the first prizes the Cardboard of the Rings guys did for like the Chuck Norris card.
Oh yeah,
That's my favorite card. I still have that one because it's like he's got like X for all of his stats,
right.
like willpower, attack, and defense, and then his ability is like X is whatever Chuck Norris wants it to be.
right.
And then he has an action. That's my favorite action. Choose a game from your collection. You win that game.
That's phenomenal.
Still not as good as the monothalon deck.
No, because monothalon would beat that, right? Like, I mean, that's what it's.
If Nate's piloting it comes down to Nate's savvy gameplay.
Yeah, he's definitely
Yeah,
savvy.
it's like Iron Man and Tony Stark. You can't have one without the other.
I got you.
Like you need Nate to pilot the monothalon.
I mean,
deck.
so in essence, Thalon was put into that core set by Nate, and there's only one person in the world that can actually use
They can
Thalon.
really play it to its full potential.
Full potential,
Yeah.
right? I know, I get it. So, well, I know you need to leave, so
I think I do now.
Yeah,
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you
chatting.
so much.
And
Yeah,
thanks for coming out. It's great
Yeah.
having you here.
Thanks, Caleb.
You bet. See you, Grant.
See you later, man.
Okay, see you later, Caleb.
You bet.
Okay, so, well, I'll say this, Grant. Then, what questions do you have about what's going on here?
Well, my first question is, how many games have you actually getting in?
Yeah, so the funny thing is when you're playing 4-player, there's so much. Like they take longer than you think. I don't play 4-player regularly. I bet you the community knows this. So, I would say that each day I've been getting in 5 or 6 games, maybe.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but like today I've played 2, and I've been here for 5 hours. So but it's fine. I mean, it's not that we're not having fun. It's just that 4-player just takes a lot longer than even I'm used to when I'm playing solo, because that's mostly what I play. And, and the other thing is, it's funny to see like all the people catching triggers. Like, there's all these triggers that end up happening, and it's like, oh crap, I should have been, so.
Yeah. So, you said you got there Thursday night.
Yeah.
So, how have you done on the set of quests that they've been putting out?
Yeah, so the first day, we played through 7 quests, and then there was, and I haven't won a lot of games. Let me just say that. I think I've won out of the 12, 14 games that I've played. I've probably beaten 3. We've had 3 wins so far. So, so we played so we started with the Angmar Awakened cycle, and you play through, and I think we got 1 win that day. Like, that was it, just one win, and then we got to. Then what do I want to say? And then yesterday there were 6 quests that we played. Or not that we played, but 6 quests on the board, and I think I actually only played 2 of them. There was a shout out to Edmund on the show, because he found me and said, "Oh my gosh, let's play." So Edmund was like, "I just bought Nightmare Foundations of Stone. Let's play that." And I was like, okay. So after it took us like a half an hour to actually interpret the setup card, we played Foundation of Stone, Nightmare, and that was fun. So that's the thing, like, you don't have to play the quests that are on the board, but if you want to unlock achievements and stuff, you get them. So we played Nightmare, Foundations of Stone. We didn't do well on that.
Yeah.
We played Karn Doom 3 times. That was the climactic quest yesterday. And we played Karn Doom 4-player, and there was no way you can beat that game 4-player. No way. I mean, Joseph did it because, like, and there was another team that beat it 4-player because they were playing it all day, from what I understand. And like every time they lost, they would tech their deck and they'd be like, "Oh, we need this card, and then eventually they finally won it at the end of the day.
So, are you and Ted sharing a room at the hotel, or are you just
no? So yeah, Ted, because Ted was later registering, it ended up that I'm here with a buddy of mine from college who hasn't played the game much. So him and I are sharing a room, and Ted is on the first floor. Although, to Ted's credit, I just text him. I'm like, "Hey, getting breakfast." And he's been meeting us for breakfast, and then Ted and I have been hanging out a lot. We've been playing a lot of 4-player games and things like that together. So.
Well, I'll tell you what. You and Ted need to get over to the UK, and we can have a con of our own.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to figure out, how we can get together with the Card Talk. You know, it's interesting because the Three's Company podcast, they were like, this may be the first time that they've been together, and one of Joseph's friend Andrew was playing, and he was on the last couple of shows. And so they were playing 4-player a lot the first game. And like Joseph said, it's hard to just kind of slide into a game. You know, you kind of have to either you're waiting around until somebody's game is done or whatever. You know, so that's kind of an interesting thing going on there. So
have you and Ted played a lot of games together? Or
yeah, we totally played. I would say 75% of the games Ted and I have played together. We haven't played much 2-player except for the 2v2 competitive mode, but we have.
Was that the Fellowship quest that you were doing?
Yeah, it was the Woodland Realm Wizards quest.
Yeah.
So that's what. So Ted put together a deck, and then we teched our decks together so that, you know, like I was bringing a version of my Slippery Sylvan deck, and he had like an all tactics deck with Imrahil and Hirgon, so he was pulling out things and things like that. So he was, but we ended up losing our first 2, and then we ended up winning one against Vardane and his partner. And so I wish I could remember everybody's name. I've met so many people here; it's like crazy. So
yeah.
So Ted and I have played a ton of games together.
So is there any other notable names there? Obviously, you've mentioned Joseph. Obviously, we've just had Caleb on. Mr. Ryan there. John's there from Cardboard of the Rings. Anybody else?
Yeah, 5 of the 6 Cardboard of the Rings guys are here. C-Stan's the only one that's not here.
All right.
So that's cool. The whole Three's Company podcast is here. Great company, two great company people. Hall of Beorn from Hall of Beorn, and Great Dan is here, and Derek is here, and just a lot of people that are super active in the community who may not be making podcasts and, you know, blogs and stuff. You know, like Secondhand Took, Wandering Took. I guess Secondhand Took is part of the Cardboard of the Rings, but Wandering Took has done some things. Vardane is here. That's his name on the Discord server. Joe Holm, who Chad is running, the Purple Wizard. He's here. Chad from Cardboard of the Rings is running the Nightmare quests against him. Nightmare Saga campaign with him. Dern's father. Wait, I'm gonna try to get some. Yo, Dan! Woo! We love Dan Prince. who's not paying. Yeah, okay. He's just too much into it. I got a game with him yesterday, so that was really cool. He's playing now with Three's Company. So yeah, I would say that if they're contributing, for the most part, they're here. I get that some people are busy and things like that, but I would say that this, like Caleb said, the small, quests, the small con is probably the place to be.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Mainly on the fact that you get to interact more with people rather than having to try and dodge and weave through 1,000 and odd people.
Yeah, and it's just the one game, so you don't have to figure out what game you're playing. You don't even really have to figure out what scenario you're going to play, because it's already. If you don't know what scenario to play, it's already figured out. You can try to unlock an achievement on the board, and you just play that.
So how many? Well, here's the question: how many achievements have you managed to unlock?
3.
And
to be honest, I haven't really been trying, because I just want to be a part of the game. Really, I don't necessarily. I love the idea of achievements. I just want to be a part of the game. So that's really what it is. But I ended up, there was one achievement for Raid on the Grey Havens where, or that's what we played. We played Raid on the Grey Havens. And I played with another fan of the show whose name, I forget. Oh my gosh, I can see his face too. But he was like, let's play a game. I was like, great, let's play it. And so there was 3 of us playing, and we did that mono tactics. So that was a lot of fun. So since every player played mono tactics, it was that's the monochromatic achievement that actually John was spoiling when he came on our show back advertising this thing in April. I also did the achievement for Cobos Haven. Stormbound Cobos Haven was you had to control 6 ships, because there's the skirmisher that you can take control of by sacrificing characters and stuff. And so we ended up doing that, and that was the one where we were questing for 80 last round, so we ended up taking control of that. And then I did one other one on the first day. So I've done like one a day.
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, there's every scenario has 2 achievements, and then there's 8 or 10 universal achievements that anybody can do at any time, and that's cool. And every time you get an achievement, your name goes into the for a drawing. So and they're doing drawings every 2 hours. What's that?
So as you asked Joseph, how many bits of swag have you won?
Nothing, which I'm fine with. I got swag for registering for Con of the Rings. There's the pictures. The pictures don't do them justice. They're wooden deck boxes that are all wooden. There's not a single part of them that's not wooden. There's one for an encounter deck, and there's one for player deck, and they're just they're super cool. So I got that because I'm a patron of Cardboard of the Rings. I got swag for that for them. And then I got my Gen Con quest because Bradley was able to deliver that to me. So I got plenty of stuff coming my way here. And then and then Dern's father, I also support them. Vision of the Palantir. He also gave swag patches. Super cool. They're patches of the 7 different Palantirs. There's 7 different saving stones. So it was like. It was cool the way that it worked out. So I got plenty of swag, and I think that there's enough new players that are here, and enough people that don't necessarily get swag that I'm okay not getting the swag. There's only one thing that I've really been dying for, and that's one of those yellow threat trackers from like years ago, 7 years ago or something that somebody made, and but if I don't get my hands on one of those, I'm fine with that. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
So what are you looking for? So as you said, you went to the barbecue with Caleb the other night.
Yeah, that was wild. That was a lot of fun. And regardless of what happened last year, he's a good cook, or at least the brats were cooked well this year. Last year, I guess they went up in flames, and like it was truly Mount Doom all over the place. So.
Well, I'm glad Caleb's managed to get himself sorted with the Marvel LCG.
Yeah, it is an LCG.
So I'm glad he's not out of work, since they're putting a hiatus on all famous Lord of the Rings LCG.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
I just hope they get him back when they come to renew the LOTR LCG.
Right.
Because I don't think it'll be the same if they have someone new take over.
Yeah, no, I think that if the content is put out, and I did get a chance to meet Matt Newman too. So, Matt was here, and I don't know, it was it was totally wild. So, so I feel like they just love the game enough that as long as they're still working for FFG, it will be a thing that they'll be the ones that are designing the content. So it's really funny. Just as an update on something that happened in the con, I just see Ted high-fiving his 3 partners. They must have just beaten the scenario over there. That's kind of funny. It's like that's what happens. Like you're playing in the middle of the con and everybody's doing the same thing. There's been several times during the con where a team just erupts in joy because it's been such a those things that you don't get to do again when you're playing by yourself or online. It's just so much different doing it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
so do you think you can get over here and?
Yeah. It won't be horribly soon, but I'm hoping to get over there. If I don't get there for a convention, I just want to come over and hang out with my buddy Grant. It would be nice to at some point be able to play a live game with you.
Oh, definitely, mate. I'll be looking forward to it. I mean, I've been pricing up costs of flights and what have you, but it's not looking promising for me getting over that end.
That's really funny. Uh-oh. Yeah? Okay, we're going to have one more guest on the show. So, it's going to be John. Everybody knows John here. This is so you can hear Grant. We have Grant in the ear hole here.
How are you?
Not bad. Yourself, mate?
I'm doing well. We're tired but good. So.
Playing for 3 days this game is totally exhausting.
It's a massive brain burn.
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, this is John Rogers. He's one of the Free Men of the North, right? Make sure I get that title correctly. Not Free Men of the West or Free Men of the South or Free Men of the East. Free Men of the South by Southwest.
No,
okay.
No,
right.
No, we're just
yeah, so John's been on the show before, so thank you for that. And but he's one of the organizers here. So what are your reflections about what's been happening at the con for over the past 3 days?
Really good second year. Really happy. So as I think we talked about last time I was on the show, we had 95 players last year. This is 130 this year. We weren't quite sure how it was going to feel in the room, but I think this is just good.
Yeah.
I don't want to go much higher than this. Maybe not higher than this at all.
I was going to say, you could easily fit 300 people in this room and playing Lord of the Rings. There's plenty of floor space that's super
just
comfortable, I'm sure.
Packed in at that point. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's hard to balance as an organizer. I mean, there's always been a couple empty tables, but but that doesn't mean if everybody were to be in here, you have to account for all of that. Right. So that's
the thing that I think last year we didn't really know. Like we said, okay, let's do 90-95, and I'll get a little bit.
No, you're okay.
You're okay. We'll do 90-95 and see how it is. We never really realized that there was never going to be a moment where all 95 players were in the room at the same time. And likewise here, I think at max we've only ever hit maybe like 105, 110 this year, like Saturday afternoon. But it's good, but there's still enough like extra spaces that you can, put your deck boxes somewhere. You can, you've got a backpack. It's not like you're really crammed in there.
Well, I'm bringing a suitcase back and forth full of all my stuff, because I have all my recording equipment too. So so that's. But I mean, I've never once felt smushed up in here, and that's good. So you may, if you have 126, is that what?
Yeah, 126 plus
So
4
you could
organizers,
probably
yeah.
do 131 next year.
Yes,
if you wanted to, you know.
maybe 135.
No,
But I think the other thing too, just the space, is just that sort of cordoning things off. Is so you can't see it on the camera right now, but we have sort of a little event space with chairs in front of us that we used for the designer interview yesterday and for trivia on Friday night. So I think that helped to just kind of section some stuff off. We didn't really think that through last year. So it's just the space has been good, and then again for us, so much of this is just convenience of just there's a full kitchen here, there's beer here, there's wine here,
and that's key for a lot of people. Like people don't have to leave the area, and that's I mean it's rare for a game store to have this sort of thing, but this game store is beautiful, and it's not. I hesitate to call it a game store, because I mean it's more than that. And I know that it's the headquarters of FFG, so it's like people have to make sure that that is. But it's still, they don't just have FFG games or Asmodee games. They're really, it's really a full service game store, a full service. I'd call it more of a cafeteria than a restaurant. But but they could order food and stuff. But I think that's key for having a con like this, is you have easy access to all that stuff.
And I think too, just it's a pleasant place to be. Like as we're talking right now, there's a number of skylights in this room where we are. You see the sun come out a little bit more. Brightens up in the room. It feels a little bit more natural than you're not in some gaming basement somewhere. So.
Yeah, I feel like Atlantic City's famous for not having any windows anywhere, so that way you don't know what time it is. But that's definitely not the thing here. So.
I think it's defunct now in the cities, but we used to have a Minnesota game store called Your Mom's Basement, which is like
exactly
which is exactly what most of us knew growing up at some point. And most game stores are just a proxy for Your Mom's Basement.
Exactly right. So
what was that in my area?
Yes, right.
Could it be my mom's basement?
Yes.
No. But so as we're wrapping up, there's actually only three more hours left in the official con. But as we wrap up, what are some of the reflections about the weekend, about the people, about the quests? Like, do you have any sneak peeks for next year?
I don't know if we have sneak peeks for next year quite yet. I would say just in general, just very pleased. Just like last year, this community, great people, co-op game. There's nothing but sort of friendliness here and sort of good vibes and commiserating when you lose and chatting about good things. Since there's no competitive aspect minus a very, very relaxed competitive tournament that went on here. It's just, everybody's just sort of mixing up. So super happy about that. I think the other thing that I really like about this year is just the number of sort of generous, attendee sort of actions, activities, so on and so forth. So we've had sort of random attendees come up and say, hey, I have all these extra game mats from a fellowship event 3 years ago. Can you put them in the prize pool? We have people handing out custom poker chips and custom cards and just sort of like little tokens of affection that are sort of these little physical signs of just how much this community means to a lot of us. And so you kind of come away with, obviously a lot of memories, but also these physical reminders that are going to be, on your playmat, in your game space at home to kind of remind you of, individual people and experiences. And I really like that.
And it's funny, and this is one of the things. So the question is, I asked you the question, what are your reflections? And this happens all the time. The reflections always come back to the people in the community. It's not like, and the quest and the game can be super challenging and all those things. But, everybody that I ask, what are your reflections of the con? And this is probably true for any con, but it's always about the people, and it's not like, oh my God, so I almost tried, like Kobos Haven, and like it's not gameplay. It's just the hanging out
the
with
people. Yeah, it's the experience of it, and it's people like more experienced players taking newer players under their wing. People who are sort of gently reminding people of rules and situations, but sharing car rides to the airport, all that stuff just kind of mixes up to the point where it is a really beautiful thing to see. It's really touching. I'm a little bit of a cynic by nature, and it's like coming here every year is like a part of sort of restoring my life.
Restore-
Oh yeah, there are just great people out there.
Your faith in humanity,
Yeah,
sort of
it
thing.
is.
It's
It
like-
is. I know it sounds
Right.
dumb, like it's just a card game, but
Yeah.
it is. It means just a
Nah,
ton to us.
but it's
So,
pretty cool.
yeah. And I think the other thing too,
It's so much more than just a card game, John.
yeah,
it's
that's
a way
true.
of life.
That's true. That's true. It is a way of life. It is a lifestyle game, as they say. But I think the other thing too is part of the reflection for me. Part of the thing that I like so much is just, I mean, it is seeing old friends, and it is getting to play with old friends, which I appreciate, and spending time with people that maybe I only see once a year for these 3 days. But then it's also just people that you've known in some other way, right? You and I have talked
Yeah.
digitally,
Yeah.
right? Seeing each other for the first time.
Right.
You found out I was a hugger.
Yeah, right.
Hope that wasn't too
Um,
awkward. but-
quick aside, John. I just want to say
Yes.
that in this community, 4 people that I've met digitally has come up to me and been like, "Hey, I'm a hugger."
Yeah,
and
yeah,
has
yeah,
hugged me.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm fine with it. I'm
Good.
a hugger as well. But it's like, you know, like that's how welcoming everybody is.
Yeah.
John's a hugger. Ted's a hugger.
Mhm.
Derek's a hugger. Like everybody just coming
Yep.
to me. I'm a hugger. Okay,
Yep.
great. That's
Yep.
great. Let's get in.
Yeah. And I think part of it is too is just seeing that, like this year, meeting you, meeting Wandering Took for the first time
Right.
here, B Gamer Joe and Mr. Underhill and the guys from the Three's Company podcast. Like these are all people who were not here in 2018.
Right.
So it's just cool to see that expand and be like, geez, like I've had you or I've had the Three's Company guys like in my earbuds while shoveling snow in the wintertime.
Right. That's what you were saying.
And
on
just
the
to be
show.
able to kind of like turn that then into like, oh my god, here
Right,
you
right,
guys
right,
are like, let's play a game, let's talk, let's have a beer. Like it is just a really it's humbling for us on the planning team. I'm sorry.
Right.
I know, no, but it's just it's
I'm a
like
hugger,
yeah,
too.
like I'm just I'm an okay player of this game, but it has seen me through tough times personally, and then just kind of first year 2018, this year 2019, when we show up for the first event or pop open the doors for the first time and start handing out badges, there's still this moment of like, geez, like people like. It's like we put up a website and sold the tickets, but like
They
you
really
believe,
love us.
Yeah, I know, but it was like you believed it was going to be here,
Right.
and there's this moment where like the con springs into being,
Yes. Right.
and it's not 5 minutes before the door opens; it's when the door opens, and it's like, oh, here it is.
Right.
This is the community, and it's so neat to see it physically embodied because we do spend so much time on Discord,
Right.
Octagon, not playing physically with each other. So the moment it's here, it's really affecting. It's like emotionally affecting, and we sort of leave as planners every year with really just sort of full and happy hearts. Like we feel like we've lived an intense 3 days, but the intensity is in friendship, not in stress.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what the community always has focused. It's one of those things, like if you're out there and you haven't been to a convention where they do Lord of the Rings, that's fine. And we all say, like, the community's so awesome, and you get that online. There's,
Right.
I don't know of any troll online for this
Right.
game,
Yep, right.
But then to get it in person, like, you think there's got to be some tension.
Yeah, there's
But it's
going
not.
to be someone here, right? But there's not.
There's not. There's
actually
there's
isn't.
not
Yeah.
that guy. If anybody, that guy is me because I'm like the loud one.
I
that's
must
like,
be the
yeah,
one,
right?
because
Must
I
be.
can't find who the one guy is.
Right. And that's the thing, it's just, to have an event like this just focused on this community. Caleb's here.
Right.
He gets to play as a player, not worrying about play testing anything. That's phenomenal.
Right.
So it's just a great great thing.
2020, just real quick.
So, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, we plan on doing a third year, obviously. We don't know beyond that, and that's not like a yes or no to whether or not there's going to be a 2021. But
Right.
we'll just have to see where it goes. With the game sunsetting, we feel like this community is sort of strong enough that there's at least another year or two more, perhaps.
We
in
should
this.
still be getting new content up
Right,
until
yes.
around this time next
Right,
year. Maybe
yes,
a little before,
yes,
maybe a little
right.
after, whatever. But
Yeah, but it will still be there. I think
Well,
that.
if you look at
Sorry,
if
go
you
ahead.
look at the Lure of the Middle Earth, they are still running the
Right.
card game.
Yes.
Um,
The old CCG and all the rest of it. Yeah. So I mean, and we haven't expanded out that far to just in terms of games yet, but I could see that potentially happening. I
so
think the other thing is,
in,
sorry.
I was just going to say, in actual fact, I think this game is strong enough to continue on like
Right.
the CCG has
Right.
with the Lure.
Yes, and I think even if content slowed to an absolute trickle and it was just maybe them wrapping up Nightmare, we'd still be good. Knowing that C-Stan and this what is it, the long-awaited, what's it called?
Some party, some sort of
Yes,
party,
yeah, the long-expected party. or
Sorry,
whatever it is.
C-Stan.
Yes,
Yeah, the long-expected party
but
or whatever.
The
Right.
player effort to build a new cycle and kind of bridge the gap excites us a lot as well. And we haven't really talked to that team at all. We have questions about, could we even, help them sell that inside the FFG space?
Right.
We're not going there yet, but I'm excited by the potential for things like that. And I think
I've seen some of the efforts of the team, and it is looking amazing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that gives me a lot of hope as well is just knowing that. I'm not going to speak for the numbers will speak for themselves, but we will be in a week putting out a post-convention survey like we did last year, so we can iterate and get better. But we're hoping for largely positive feedback from that, and if we continue to receive that and people say yes, I will come, and here's the room for improvement, because everything that we did new this year did come out of that survey,
right?
And so then there were little tweaks, but I think things that people second-time attendees are saying. These were really good quality small changes, but they bubbled up.
Right, and that's what that's what we said when we talked on the show last time. Is you tweaked it. It wasn't like there was a failure last year. There was a couple of things that you did to tweak to make it run smoother, maybe even behind the scenes a little bit, or maybe add a couple of things like this area here that we're recording from. And
we eliminated some small field ads in the achievements and stuff like that. And so we're kind of moving on. But so I'm hopeful for 2020.
Do you have a date set yet?
We don't.
No. Okay.
So we will send out the survey a week after the con. That's around the time as well. We will put out an announcement so that people can dump photos and video into a shared Google photo stream so that people can kind of grab all of the media for themselves if they want from this. And then we will, as soon as possible, talk to FFG about what the date is for next year. We're still thinking around the same time. It's October 6th, 2019 right now. It's probably going to be this weekend next year, a weekend before, a weekend afterwards. So it's really just, the FFG Center has Arkham Nights after this, and I believe some sort of Star Wars thing in Worlds. We need to let them get through that before they want to talk to us about stuff a year out. So, but really excited to actually get that on the calendar, because we like to sort of reserve it, pay our full room fee right away, and just say, okay, we know this is on lock, and now we can sort of not do anything con-wise from sort of, we take like November and December sort of off.
You're allowed.
Yeah.
I give you that permission.
So, but it's good. And the other thing too is now that we proved the concept last year, we iterated slightly last year for better improvements. This year we added in the digital draft, so Mark put in, a few hundred hours of coding and all that.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of this is baked in, so it's like for us as organizers, it's like if each of us is putting in on average between January and October an hour to 2 hours of work on this, it happens. It's not crushing.
Right.
And it's been designed by us to make it easy for us to get out from behind the desk and play as well. Right. I mean, again, like we joke, it's just barely a convention, and our motto is generally like, do as little. I mean, we're not lazy, but it's like do as little work as possible and just let the community be itself.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It seems like when you're here, like it's not like you have to lord over. It's also a self-policing community too. You know, in turn, like when you guys gave out the swag, great swag by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Those deck boxes are amazing. But like even when we gave those out, they were wrapped in paper bags. So somebody just was walking around, probably not even encouraged by the con staff. Was just like, "Hey, dude, I'll throw it away." I had mine off to the side, ready to throw it away after a turn or something. Somebody was like, "I'll throw it away," And it was that's the type of community we have. Like self-policing in just about every way.
Cleaning up after themselves, looking out for each other. Yeah, it's
right.
Good,
So,
have you gotten many games in over the weekend? Or
I've got a decent amount. I mean, I've played 2 longer 4-player games today successfully. Yay!
Passage through Mirkwood doesn't count.
No. It was actually Storm on Kobos Havens. Was one of them, the 4-player, and we won. And so I played that. I played Temple to Deceive today. I played Karn Doom yesterday and some other items. So
I love you, man.
we're saying goodbye to Ted.
Yeah.
See you later, Ted.
Quick
Thank
break.
you.
Sorry, Ted
say
Bannock, our
goodbye.
other co-host. Here, I'll do this. Here, look.
Hey, Card Duck fans. Turns out I really love playing cards at Count of the Rings. It's like a really great thing. So come on by.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John,
Appreciate it, man.
for putting it together.
Okay.
All right.
Um, So yeah, so I played 2 games today. I played 2 to 3 games yesterday. I played probably 3 games on Friday. Yeah, I mean, it's been good. You know, it's never as much as I would like, but not because of the game itself, but just because, you know, there are, of these 130 attendees, I would say there's probably 50 to 60 I know well in some way, shape, or form. And I just want everybody at my table.
In fairness, John, I've only played about 3 again.
Right, yeah.
I'm just kidding. So you may have played more scenarios than I
Maybe,
have. You know, like
yeah.
that's kind of.
But it's good. I mean, we like getting out there, and also too, it's like it's this balance between wanting to play with people I know and a balance of wanting to pull in somebody I don't know, so that I can expand the pool of people I know, and new players as well, and people that haven't played these quests before. And I it can be a little bit hard on Friday outside of the people that we know well, because I think for brand new attendees, like this year, we had maybe 5 to 8 people mistake this whole event for being run by FFG and thought like we were FFG employees.
Oh.
And so
that's kind of flattering, though.
I mean,
like
maybe.
that's how professional that you guys handle
I
this.
guess so.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like.
But it was like this.
But it's
like,
also a different awkward situation that ends up.
Yeah, but I was
arising.
like, can I like just get out from behind the desk and like, first of all, this is fan run. Second of all, I'm a fan helping run it. Third of all, can I play a game?
Can I play? I want to play.
I actually want to play with you.
Right.
So, but it's been good. It's been a fun thing. Again, I haven't been able to draft this year. I wish I would have been able to, you know, so on and so forth. But it's I've probably hit 6-7 games. I might get an 8th in before we really.
That's cool.
Out, so.
I don't want to hold you, but I'm going to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Is that okay? Like, if
Yep.
you have to go, that's fine.
No, we got a couple.
Okay, so as you reflect on the whole con, what has been like your most favorite part, aside from getting a little bit of Card Talk swag?
Yes,
that
thank you,
other
thank
than
you.
that one thing, no. But no, seriously, like, so what has been specifically your favorite thing that has gone on here?
I will say. I mean, I'll say 2.
What is this? Cheating
Yeah,
all the time.
cheat. I'll cheat.
Right.
That's fine.
Right. You only can exhaust one character.
Yes, yeah,
No,
I'm
I'm just
exhausting
kidding.
too.
Okay.
No, I mean, first of all, just the even short moments where someone is coming or leaving and not seeing them maybe for another year, and just kind of like the thank yous and the mutual, like, it was great, wasn't it? So any of those moments have been great and very touching. And then I would say the just like pure gameplay. So Liam from Three's Company, Nate, who is a local player, and Nick, who is a local player who I know well, and we've been playing together for years. Gameplay-wise, we sat down for 4-player Kovas Havens, pickup, no planning, minimal sideboarding, and all the rest of it. We played it. We earned 3 achievements doing it, which was great for them.
Yeah.
And then I think my favorite part was just that. Well, there's a couple of favorite parts, but the number one favorite part was that Liam's Sylvan deck was so up and running, and we kept taking the ships and the Corsairs so that he could do range stuff. Is that in the late rounds of the game, he had 1 round where he was able to play Rumiel on the table, do 8 direct damage because he had 8 range characters out, sink a Corsair warship that was in somebody else's play area. Then during the combat phase, somebody engaged another beefy Corsair warship. He cheated Rumiel back to hand with Granduil and then dropped them again and sunk another warship. So
that's why I love that deck.
Yeah, so we were just joking that Rumiel had just been soaked in pitch, lit on fire, and put in a catapult. And then that after he sunk a warship, they would just haul him back with like a chain and then just put him in again, sort of like Peter Jackson, Legolas style.
Right, yeah. That's how I always imagine Arnor, Flame of Arnor.
Yes,
when you sacrifice it, it's Gandalf just throwing a character at
just
the
being
on
on fire.
or whatever. Yeah.
So just gameplay-wise, I mean, I will say, honestly, that was probably the best game I have played in 12 months. I remember a game about that epic last year at Con of the Rings with 3 other different people. I mean, good enough that, like, and I don't know Liam and don't know Nate at all, so just to be able to, like, play this with someone I know well and 2 guys I'm getting to know, and just, like, a universally, like, everybody was just looking at each other and saying, best game we've played in a year plus. Right. We wanted a picture of the 4 of us around the table after we won. It's just those are really just fun, meaningful experiences.
So, did you run Unseen Strike in that deck that you were running? Just wondering.
No,
Just
I
curious.
actually didn't.
Oh.
So the only downside of that was I played my Makazi deck, which is an Eagle deck that's designed to get in an Eagle of the North into the encounter deck, and then have it pop out, and then an Eagle kamikazes himself through a Corsair warship and sinks it.
Right.
That did not happen. In fact, I lost Radagast Staff twice to when a Corsair engages you, you have to like discard an attachment. So I lost Radagast Staff twice, and both times Liam instantly Galadriel'd, and it popped off the top of my deck. The next version of it.
Wow, that's so funny.
Bonkers. He was so good. Like it was great.
That's so funny. We were playing Kobos Haven, and Electron John from Cardboard of the Rings. He had 2 Eagles of the North in the encounter deck, and so we had 5 cards, and we had to stage 4 of them.
Okay.
And we knew that like one of them had popped off as a shadow.
Oh, sure.
So it was gone, and so we were like, what are the chances that the 4, no
what
surge, whatever,
chances? Yeah.
Of course, the last card was an Eagle of the North.
Yep.
And so that surges. Mm-hmm. So we shuffle up the deck because we need to reveal. Sorry, was it the? I'm sorry. We did 4 for the sailing test.
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. So the sailing test, you don't see that.
Right.
So then it was the last card that was there. We were like, that has to be the Eagle of the North. That was the Eagle of the North. It surged. And so we shuffle up the encounter deck to go, and the very top card was the second Eagle of the North, and we were able to sink 2 of the ships.
Nice. That's
good.
It
was like, and so John stood up and felt victorious.
Have you guys talked about that on the show about Eagle of the North and Flight of Eagles?
No.
Okay, because I think somebody I don't know enough about it, but for me, so I'm a former English teacher, like literature. I'm very sort of narrative, feelings-driven person in a lot of ways. I'm not a math guy. I'm not a numbers guy. So for me, like the quality of a card is totally influenced by like those narrative moments I remember. And I put Eagles of the North in everything, Flight of Eagles in everything, because last year at this con, we had just gotten that pack pre-released here.
Okay.
So I shuffled it up, was playing with secondhand to played Battle of the Pelennor Fields, and we had 2 Eagles of the North pop out of the encounter deck and kill the Wraiths on Wings in the staging area.
Right.
And once that's like burned into your brain,
Yeah,
it's
you
like
have to do
the
it.
first time you ever use that card, you're like, well, this card is clearly the best card of the game.
Right.
And then no matter how many times
It's so
it
thematic
whiffs,
that it killed the
yes,
right.
But no matter how many times it whiffs, you're still like, no, this is like, and I will just die on that hill just because I had such a great experience with it.
Yeah, and I will say that playing 4-player for the first time ever and doing it almost exclusively this whole weekend, I can now see, how some cards are easy to tell, like that they're more beneficial than others, like Campfire Tales. You don't play solo, but all of a sudden here it's become
it's all over
everybody
the place.
loves it.
Yeah.
Aaron Ryder,
gifts, all kinds of stuff.
all those things. But then those encounter cards that shuffle into the deck, like you're going through the encounter deck 2, 3, 4 times sometimes, and so you're going to see them. So and it dilutes the encounter pool.
Right.
I mean, you're surging, but
you're
you're helping yourself out.
Yes.
And so I think that there's definitely some benefit. So actually, I'm pretty psyched that you allowed me to have this exposure so that I could have a little more perspective on when I do this.
The analysis will be better because you've just seen more.
Right.
And that is just from like a pure gameplay perspective too. Just coming to this con is just more like it's more opportunity. It's like whatever they say in poker about just like the more hands you see, the better you get.
Right.
And the same is true of this game. It's just seeing more situations, be like, okay, and then the opportunities start to open up in your mind. So yeah, I'm a better player. I'm a better deck builder. Just
for having
doing these large player deals sometimes. So.
Well, what else do you have? Do you have anything else you want to add or to say?
I don't think so. I think I got to go do a raffle in a little bit. So
okay,
thank you, Grant. Appreciate it.
We're gonna probably wrap up the episode. We've been doing this almost an hour and a half now, so it's the longest card talk episode ever.
I look forward to watching. I look forward to watching everything until I show up. I don't want to watch myself.
No, that's
on
fine.
Screen,
That's okay. You can listen to yourself on screen too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I think Grant, you and I think we agreed that we're going to try to put this out immediately, and we're probably not going to edit it.
Okay,
so,
sure.
So just be careful, everybody out there. That I may put a little disclaimer at the beginning, saying, just so you know, this is an unedited. We just want to get it out for the community to enjoy. Yes. So,
and we're all running on like 4 hours of sleep and a lot of caffeine. And
when John says 4 hours of sleep, everybody, I'm just telling you that he means that for the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's cumulative. Pretty
Like,
much. It's
I'm seeing a friend of mine that I haven't seen in years, and so like when we were up when we got in on Thursday until 3:30 in the morning, and then we were up at early on Friday to play. So like that was 3 hours of sleep, and then the night afterwards. We went over to Caleb's house, and then I got back, and then we decided at the hotel to play at midnight. We were like, "Let's play, let's run."
Like
The,
a great idea at the time.
right. So like we're not really, operating.
And then just the adrenaline of it's hard. I find not in a bad way, but I find even when I get home, it's hard to just sort of like
come back down,
slowly come back down because you're so sort of inspired and jazzed up.
Yeah. So,
good.
but John, thank you so much for
Pleasure,
having
man.
us.
Thank you.
Here,
Appreciate
one
you
more
coming
hug
out.
for the road.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
yeah.
Bye, Grant.
Thanks, bud. Okay.
See you later, John.
Okay, Grant. So, I think that we should.
Got one more question to ask you, David.
Oh, one more question. Go ahead.
Have you made enough contacts to get our show filled for guest episodes for the rest of the year?
Well, it's October, so I think that I probably have the rest of the year covered. So,
Okay,
wait, we may have. Are you want to? Oh yeah, okay. So, do we have 2 or 1? Yeah. You just one of you won't be able to hear Grant. That's all. Won't be able to hear Grant. So here, somebody sit. Come on back. You can stand behind here, or stand, whatever you want.
Oh, we should just do one of us then if it's gonna be like awkward.
No, here, come on in. There's plenty of space. Dan, come on. So right now I'm just trying to get the Great Company, half of the Great Company podcast. Right, the good half. Come on. Who's the up? No. Here, you get this. Who wants to?
Do it live.
You get to put that. It goes in your other ear, so that way we can get close.
Okay.
Yeah. So just so you know, so down here we have Derek Kamal, who's been a guest on the show, right? So that's good, thanks. And Dan's here.
I just realized there's a camera. Hi, camera.
So the funny thing is that when we did your show for Bayonne, we couldn't get you. There was some sort of lag issue with computer, whatever.
The internet. So
Yeah. That's so weird. So here we are. We're recording a little around the community episode, a little community tale. So, what's your guys' take on the con so far? What's been going on?
It's awesome. It's good fun. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, what's been your best favorite part here? Best favorite? Is that even good English? Yeah, the favoritist is.
My most favoritist of all parts was definitely yesterday getting crushed 6 times in a row by Carn.
Oh yeah.
Quality. It's good for the soul.
Yeah. Right.
It keeps you humble. You think you're good at the game, and then you play 4-player Battle of Carn, and you're reminded that you're not as good as you think. You're reminded that you're a mere mortal. Yes.
Right. So those 6 games of Carn took you 10 minutes? 7 minutes? 8,
No,
10?
some of them we actually Some of them we actually survived multiple rounds only to have our souls crushed later.
Oh, that's even better.
Yes.
And
it's good if you think you have a chance, and then it reminds you that you don't.
And were you playing 4-player?
Yes.
That's the thing with that quest. Like, all of a sudden you don't have any... They're all shadow cards.
It was even better because we were playing 4-player next to 2 guys playing 2-player, and as we were dying multiple times, they were... the entire time it took us to lose 6 times, they played it once and won. So for every time we were like groaning at, let's add a shadow card to everything we play, they were like, oh yeah, we got it down to where there's no enemies to play.
Yeah, right, which is always super frustrating, right?
Yeah, that was great.
But in a good way, right?
I played 3-player with Big Foam Love and your Ted.
Right.
And we had almost identical experience. And when I heard today about the people who pulled it off 4-player, I realized our decks were kind of similar. So we were in the neighborhood. We were way down here. We just could not get the ball rolling. And then it's very thematic, that quest, in that much like the Witch King or the evil forces of Mordor would do, they raise your spirits only to crush them, kind of as you were alluding to.
I think some of our decks might have been the J.C. Penney decks to the Nordstrom decks that actually won.
Right.
We were going a little bit.
The rumor that I heard was the people who beat it and got the achievement had been playing it all day and were teching the.
I just assumed they cheated. I mean,
that
was my.
Well, isn't that how you win, anyways?
Yeah,
you always cheat with this game. So, well, you guys have been to these. Have you been to cons? I know that you usually travel around and go to a lot of events around all these places, right? So, but do you Derek? Get the
I
chance
went
to
to
go
the Ring last year. I've been to Gen Con, but as far as like other than that, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, what's the draw?
Con of the Rings?
For yeah.
For this
Really,
sort
it's
of
the people because these are people from all over the country who I just don't get to see outside of this context. And as a convention, it's very chill because if you go to Gen Con or Origins or Dragon Con or whatever, you're marching all over town.
Yeah, the PAX Unplugged.
There's a full service kitchen. There's great swag. There's awesome people that you get to hang out with.
Right.
The weather is nice. Yeah.
The weather is amazing.
Yeah. Well, because both of you live in the south of the United States, so you're dealing with, there's 2 seasons, summer and almost summer, right? Like
I think it's hell on earth and then not hell on earth are the 2 seasons.
Okay, yeah.
Hey,
Or just barely not hell on
I
earth.
probably would have come up here just to escape the humidity.
Yeah. I got off the plane, it was 44 degrees, and I wanted to just take all my clothing off and run around.
Yeah.
That was my immediate temptation.
I'm sure nobody would have thought any weird things about that. So
Whatever.
That's
Let them think. That's their problem.
Yeah.
They need to get over their prudishness.
Yeah. Do you guys still get a chance? Do you guys still get together and play? Like the Grey Company itself is kind of.
He doesn't like me anymore, so
Well,
he's contractually obligated to see me once a year, and this is that time.
This is that time. Okay.
That's how he won the custody battle. Otherwise, I would not.
He's almost free of me though. Another couple hours, and it'll be a year before we see each other.
Okay. Because I was going to say, because while the Grey Company is, on a hiatus, but I didn't know if you still got a chance to get
That's
together.
a fancy word for done quit, sir.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I did. I did.
This guy went to college.
Yeah, you could tell.
Ooh. Oxford commas.
Oxford commas.
Oh,
and
Are you an English teacher?
no science. I have to talk English goodly though in order to teach science gooder than most other people.
That's something we were actually talking about this weekend. Is how do we be grown-ups and schedule time to play together online every once in a while?
If you solve that, you've solved quantum mechanics. So
Yeah,
take 4
Right.
adults with lives and
Across 4
families
in 4 time
across
zones.
4 time zones and get them to do anything for
Yeah.
the same hour across those time zones, and you've solved. I think you've
Right.
unleashed the power of the atom. at that
The
point.
twins paradox is all of a sudden resolved, right? It's
Three
like-
body problem, right?
Yeah, right. That's good. So, but it's got to be a relief to see some of your old friends and be able to play with them. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get to see everybody. Right? You get to meet you face to face.
Yeah.
Get to see Caleb, the local guys, the Austin crew.
I'll say it's been really good to meet you face to face, Derek.
Not Dan. Not
I'm just kidding. So
No one wants to meet me face to face.
then we wouldn't get to see
Well-
Austin Bears.
I've actually said this twice to Dan. He probably hates me for it, but I will say that Dan, you are a much taller man than I originally thought. It's just.
Were you hoping that it would be ironic that the bear is my avatar and I would be like 3 foot nothing and have a squeaky voice?
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Bjorn.
Well, I
turned
knew.
into a bear. Don't mess with me.
I think that, and with all due respect to Derek and Ian and
Oh,
Matthew.
You're totally about to disrespect those 3 guys. Be
No.
careful.
With all due respect to
saying
those
with all due
3.
respect, man.
Yeah. So it's right. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. But you have the golden voice of that podcast.
You say that. We had someone complaining that I was too sibilant on the podcast, so everyone's got their...
Sibilant?
He's going to complain about it.
I bet you went to college too because you just said the word sibilant.
No, I would
No.
never. Don't ever accuse me of being educated. Don't do that. The bear just the bear just mauls things. That's all the bear does.
It's just it's no finesse.
Crush.
Only,
That's the only thing
yeah.
I got.
Yeah. So what's the? I mean, we have a couple hours left of the con. What's gonna happen for you guys in the last 2 hours here? Are you leaving today? Are you going tomorrow?
We're leaving fairly soon. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Apparently the airport is a mess because I guess there's a marathon that happened today or something. I don't know.
So, do you run at all, Bjorn?
No, I don't run, but apparently all the runners are in the airport waiting to get on their plane. So.
Okay. I bet you they get there quicker than you do.
I bet they do. Yeah, I bet they do.
But I finished my shopping. I might try to squeeze in one more game. But
Okay. So you have shopping to do?
well, I wanted to buy some stuff from here. But
Oh, at the store.
It's
I
the
thought
only. It's the only place. It feels weird to go to see all the Lord of the Rings products in stock.
In stock, right.
That's surreal to look at a shelf and be like, "Wow, it's everything you could want to buy."
what's the one after Conflict? Journey to Scoble is not in stock, just so you guys know.
Somebody got all the injured eagles.
Yeah. Willie, they're getting ready for the poem on with the Williador to be the hero. They must be stocking up on their Williador objective
I wonder
allies.
if Caleb has tracked whoever wrote that poem down and killed them in their sleep.
Well, I asked him that. He was up here earlier, and I actually asked him that, and he said no. It was great. It was, so that was one of those things. So, but
nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been a kind of an interesting 3 days. It's my first time ever being at one of these things. So, yeah.
It's fun, right?
No. No. Yeah. It's amazing.
I mean, that's why we fly out here. We fly out here to not have fun for 3 days.
Hanging out, eating junk food for a weekend, and playing games with your friends.
Drinking copious, delicious beers. No one wants to do that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I highly recommend. They have some good beer. It's not just like Miller Lite and Pabst. It's like
Be careful. Don't offend your listeners. Some of them might like Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I love PBR, but I'm not gonna. If there's other beers, I'm going to choose the other ones, right? Yeah. So, without holding you guys too long, I will ask, though, has there been an epic moment that you guys had playing the game at all or anything like, I'll say mine to you guys. It was Mr. Underhill and Joseph from their podcast, and then Electron John and I were playing Cobus Haven. In the last round, we quested for 80 against 5 in the... Yeah, so that's our epic moment.
Did you succeed?
Yeah, we did. Okay. So the ship enemies add 5 engagement costs. So I think that we had 3 ship enemies. So it was like 20 we needed to quest for. So it ended up being pretty wild. So that's our epic moment. So you guys have some sort of similar...
I was lost a lot. I didn't have an epic moment. I did have one good moment using Dan's Dwarf mining deck, where we had a little action window before quest resolution. And I was able to...
Was it just a little action window?
It was a little one, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure.
It was like a vent, an action vent, maybe?
Yeah, right.
Small porous hole. Where I was able to do some discard Gandalf trickery to get a resource, to put Biffer into play.
Right.
I don't even know if I did it right, but put him into play, committed to the quest, so we made the one progress we needed to clear the location and to trigger all of the location attachments because Ted was playing the Woodman,
Yeah.
And then we still lost the next round. That was like my one, we like that meme where the ladies got trigonometry swirling around his head.
Right.
That was like my one moment like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was gonna say, is that one of those things that that wipes out the epic moment when you lose the game? Like, does it make it less epic?
That is what this game is about.
Yes.
This game is about, because if you had mics enough and you mic'd all the conversations that are happening right now, I would bet that at least more than half of them are people saying, "Oh man, we did this, and then Sauron totally crushed us," and but it's kind of that.
And if you got a mic for Caleb, he'd be over in the corner going, "Yes."
So this game kind of lives in the after action report. So if you're kind of everybody swapping war stories is half the fun of the game.
Right. It's like golf, kind of in that respect, right? Yep. You have one good shot can make a great day of golf, not the overall end of the day. So.
That's a good
comparison. Yeah. What about you, Bjorn? What do you got?
I'm sure there were epic moments. I'm like so sleep deprived at this point. The brain's not functioning very well. But I've been playing a lot of Grimbjorn, and it turns out bear that counterattacks pretty good.
Yeah, a bear.
I'm a fan. It's going to come as a shock to the internet, I'm sure. But,
yeah, you're a fan of bears.
Yes,
and it's fun. So yesterday we did the designer interview, and you made a surprise appearance in you have a search engine?
What's that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we did a game yesterday featuring your search engine. That was it was shocking to me to actually hear Caleb. I'm like, give me any card name with Dane in it, like DAIN, and he was like, I don't have any.
Yeah.
That was a little funny. So what other reflections do you guys have on the con here?
I was surprised by how much I enjoyed playing Who Am I last night.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Like, I think I had more delight playing that than I did playing cards.
Oh, and this guy just busted out the full lay of Gil-galad, and that was his.
Did you actually quote it?
Yeah, I know he got it, and I was like,
that was before I realized he was supposed to be asking me yes or no questions. But had the question been, can you recite the Gil-galad?
We play it Great Company style, okay? We got our own way.
Yeah.
Somebody put Sam Gamgee's cousin. I don't remember the name. You did. That's the most messed up thing anyone's ever done.
I told you to get another
I
one.
spent all night guessing, and then I finally, when I, finally made it back to my hotel at 1 a.m. or whatever.
You still had the sticker on your back?
No, I peeled it back, and I'm like, I give up. I want to know what it is. And I've never seen this name in my life. I mean, I've read The Lord of the Rings 20 times, and I don't know if it's from the appendices or...
He references his cousin Andy in the book, but it's not Andy Roper. I'm sorry I did that to you.
That's just evil. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I learned my lessons from
That was a quality troll, because I asked so many questions, and I actually even had it narrowed down to, like, is it a relative of Sam's? And it's like, okay, it's a relative of Sam's. It's not his dad.
It's not how
his
fast.
mom. Yeah. It's not how fast. What the heck is this random... Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's wild. That's really cool. So, anything else?
No, Con of the Rings 2020.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, John actually just confirmed that they really want to have a Con of the Rings 2020.
Okay.
So
Shocking.
yeah,
Shocking.
I know. I can't imagine
this
one.
is one thing that I will leave your listeners with is people should not assume that just because the game is going to go on a hiatus that the community is really going to be much at all affected by that.
No.
Because you come here and you see the level of excitement, the number of people that want to play, and that's really what it's about. It's not about how much product is coming out. I mean, we've always gone through stretches in this game where there's 6 months where we're like, where the hell's the product?
Right.
It's going to be the same as that, right? But the community is going to be every bit as vibrant as it was before, and people need
And even more so, there's this whole project to make like custom-made quests. That, and you could always go to Ian's custom-made first age quests. Like there's so much community content out there that it's almost like just a chance for everybody in the community to maybe even just catch up and like grow.
Yes, and I am actually part of the C-Stand's effort to work on that. So I can say there's some really awesome stuff coming there. And for people that aren't, fixated on old official cards only, there's going to be some things that I think players will find really exciting.
From all indications say that's going to be a really awesome project that's worked on it.
Yep. Cool.
So, well, guys, thanks for working your way over and safe travels if you're going to...
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
for
having us.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Have fun, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Grant says see ya.
See you, Grant.
Yeah.
Bye, Grant.
Woo. Okay, so should we wrap this show up?
If you want to, Matt.
Well, it's already our longest show ever, so I think it's about time. I'm trying to get a good camera angle here. So, right. So that was good. I feel pretty happy that we were able to get some good community contributors on the show, and I feel pretty happy that we were able to talk to Caleb. I mean, what more do you want on this episode of Card Talk, right? Like, what more could you want?
Exactly. What more could you want?
Right. So, everybody out there, again, Con of the Rings 2020. It's amazing. It's a great thing. So come out, enjoy, and so Grant, say goodbye to everybody.
Oh no.
Have fun and enjoy the con.
Okay. See you later, everybody. Bye.